everybody. I'm Mikki Meisner with Connecting the Dots, sitting here with Baron Robinson, the founder of Kicking Cancer.
And our third episode.
Our third episode.
This is so exciting.
Yeah, it's a good number.
Yes, it is. Well, and this is exciting, too, because you and I have talked so much over the years about how we do really need to connect the dots for people. Mm-hmm. So it's a perfect name for this show. We're trying to connect the dots for you on a lot of things. For those that have listened to the last two episodes, well, first, if you didn't listen to them, please go back and listen to those. But if you didn't, you kind of heard how Kicking Cancer started.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm not a cancer survivor, so I was intrigued with the stories, but it became kind of my life mission to begin to slow this stupid thing down.
Right.
On the second episode, though, you did tell your story.
I did tell my story.
And we have a wonderful producer over here who is your husband, who is giving us these signals. We're out of time. Yeah. So in the last episode, you did get us to about 2005 or 2006.
Right, my second diagnosis.
And you had that under control at that point. Mm-hmm. And then something amazing came into your life.
Well, first of all, I have an ask. If you would like and subscribe to our channel, it would be greatly appreciated.
And that's why there's two of us, because I forgot that.
One of us should be thinking at all times. It's usually him. Yeah, so like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you would like to help us further the cause, reach more people, go to kicking-cancer.org and donate.
Yeah. It's right there at the front. There's a button that says donate. You'll be a hyperlink to the Vancouver community and more communities as they come about. Yeah. But this message is, it does, unfortunately, it takes money to make everything happen. And so your donations help make these things happen. So thanks for the reminder on the show.
Well, what I have found with Kicking Cancer is that people love to help, but they need the invitation. They don't know what to do or how to help. So if you'd like to get involved, maybe you live in a different town, city, state, and you'd like to start your own chapter, reach out. There's lots of ways that you can volunteer, donate, get involved, and help us with this mission to reduce cancer by 50%.
Yeah, right there on that home page, as soon as you go on there, they call it above the fold. The first thing you're going to see is how to request help. Mm-hmm. And that's where someone who would like to be a potential Go team, which was one of our previous shows, they just click the button and they submit a friend's name to be a Go team. That's how you request the help. Or you would like to get involved. You can volunteer. You can say, we'd like to have a community in our city, whatever it is. But all that's on that home page. And on the top right is the spot to donate. Our cause is growing exponentially, which is really cool. Yeah. Which is exciting and scary all at the same time.
Well, cancer's growing like crazy. And, part A of our mission is to help people thrive through their cancer journey. Part B is to help them not get it. And it's a big deal to educate people.
And as we come to the end of 2024 and we head into 2025, there is a phrase that you will hear me say a lot more. I'm sure that you'll be saying it up here in Vancouver too. You know what? Hope is not a plan, people. Hope is not a plan. And Kicking Cancer was formed to provide you hope.
With a plan.
With a plan.
Yeah.
We do want to be there with you through these horrific days. And there's some phenomenal stories from Salem and from Vancouver of just the joy in people's faces when you're there with them.
Yeah.
But we got to give you a plan to get through this horrible diagnosis.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to give you one statistic, just really recent data. In the United Kingdom alone, there's 1,000 new cases a day. 1,000 a day of cancer in the United Kingdom. We're not slowing this thing down, Mikki. We got to find a way to slow this thing down. So we do want to give you tips. And the part of your story that we weren't able to get to was something came into your life after two diagnoses.
After two diagnoses, I think I was born an entrepreneur. And when I had cancer and I became an herbalist, I had all this stuff. I had a lot of St. John's wort and dandelion, and I do things in a big way. And the next thing you know, I was selling teas and tinctures and salves and ointments and lotions and potions at farmers markets, and they were in consignment in boutiques. And you see a lot of it now, but originally in 2006. You couldn't go to the store and buy a tincture. There wasn't a lot of education out there. There wasn't, very precious few herb books to learn this information. So I really took it upon myself to help people understand plants that grew in their backyard that could help them through whether it was a digestive issues or maybe they had headaches or cancer, whatever. And so I'm just a born entrepreneur. And having had cancer, health was in the forefront of my reticular activating system. So I was always looking for easy ways to stay healthy, to be healthy, to up level. And in 2008, a friend of mine had introduced me to the cyanizer.
Okay.
And she had actually used it to reverse her 4th stage cancer.
Wow.
Yeah, I called her a liar. I didn't say wow. I said pull my other leg. I literally, I had done all of this stuff.
And that phrase you use is so powerful. She reversed.
Yeah.
Stage
she had
4
4th
cancer.
stage breast cancer.
And for the
in
listeners,
6 weeks, mind
and for
you.
the listeners that don't understand, stage refers to risk.
Right.
So stage 1 is low risk, stage 4 is high risk. Stage 4 breast cancer traditionally is not survivable.
Right.
To reverse, to go from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 is not common.
Right.
So any modality that we can bring you, we call them our go-to teens, but any modality we can bring you that can help you reverse your cancer is phenomenal.
So I believe that the body's designed to heal itself. And
I think God believes that too.
when she told me her original story, she had done the Incurables program.
Okay.
So the Incurable program is the protocol that I followed when I had cancer. It was by Dr. Christopher, who taught Dr. Schultz, herbdoc.com. He's got a lot of great protocols out there. I don't walk people through the whole herb protocol anymore. It's an incredible amount of work. The information is out there. I can point you in the right direction, but that's not what I do anymore. But for her to tell me that she did that the first time she had cancer and reversed 4th stage uterine and breast cancer
Holy smokes.
with the Incurables protocol.
Okay.
Okay, so that got my attention because
Yeah,
I know
I
how
got my
hard that
attention
is.
right now.
I know how much discipline you have to have if you're going to go from, 2 to 10.
Because you did it twice.
Yeah, it took her 2 years
Wow.
her doctor basically told her she might as well dig her own grave.
That's not the news you want from your doctor.
Yeah, no, she's bratty. So
You
8 years
kindred
later,
spirit.
she had gotten cancer again, and a friend of hers had used it with her cancer.
Okay.
So she didn't believe it either, but why not try it?
Sure.
She said to herself, well, if it doesn't work, I'll just go back to my old protocol.
No
you
harm,
you
no foul.
got your enema bag, you got your juicer, good to go.
Right,
Super
right.
fun. And so she made the commitment to drink 6 quarts of this, I'll call it magic water. I'm not allowed to use the brand, call it Voldemort.
Yeah.
This magic water box. 6 quarts a day, and sent in her tests, and she was cancer-free. Docs are like...
How much is in this? A half a
looks
quart?
about, I don't know, 30. Yeah, that's about a half quart, 32 ounces.
So she drank 12 of these a day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and I always say,
hold on, I need another drink. I'm
you
way behind.
have
I'm
a
way
health
behind.
condition like that. You need to be intentional. You need to drink it like you mean it. So she told me this big story. I called her a liar, and she said, just try the water.
Just try the water.
I'm like, okay, crazy lady. So I took her up on it, and it was a 45-minute drive each way to get this water.
Wow.
The bad news is that you had to get it fresh. So the bad news wasn't that it was 45 minutes each way. The bad news was that I was up there 3 times a week.
Well, the other bad news is that if you drink that much water, you got to make rest stops all the way too.
It's a big deal.
Thanks to you, I go to the bathroom more often.
You're welcome. I started drinking this water, and I wasn't sick. To be clear, I didn't use this with cancer. I didn't know, I was way on the other side of it.
Okay.
So I was healthy.
You were not using it to reverse the
No,
cancer.
I was healthy. I was raw vegan at the time. I was not messing around. This after I'd had my second trip through, I'm like, okay, got it. It's a lifestyle. I need to maintain the diet. I need to maintain all the things, which is an incredible amount of work, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is why I was mad at her because she didn't have to do all that. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I started drinking it, and my skin cleared up. And so let me say this because many people will say to me, well, I'm really healthy. Maybe that's true or not, but sometimes people will say I'm really healthy, not thinking that they're on XYZ medication.
Right.
So I was really healthy, even though I was still taking Tums sometimes, even though I still had allergies, even though I had patches of eczema, I was healthy.
Right.
And so I started drinking this water, blew my ever-loving mind. I had more energy than I knew what to do with.
You know what's scary is you got me drinking this stuff, and I had energy before I started.
I know.
You were debating whether I'd even start drinking this
I
stuff.
know. I had so much energy. Like I was in the martial arts, and you know, when you're over 40 and you're in the martial, you hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You hurt.
Yeah.
Sparring with my 16-year-old, it was a blast. I didn't hurt anymore.
Wow.
I would like wake up in the morning and I would have all this energy and my skin looked great. I'm losing weight and I'm feeling awesome. So I worked at Macy's part-time and the girls are like, what diet are you on? What are you doing? Like something's working. I want that.
I want that.
And I'm like, you know what? I met this crazy lady. I'm drinking this magic water. Like, come try it. And so I'm dragging all these people up to Amboy to get this water. Like, I'm no dummy. We're carpooling. They're paying for the gas.
Yeah.
I didn't even have money at the time for gas.
Wow.
I made $9.50 an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
In 2008. And I was addicted to it. Never bothered asking her the price until I did. And that was kind of a wake-up call for me. I'm like, who buys these things? And she's like, everybody. And I'm like, yeah, not me. It wasn't on my menu. It was 2008, and I was married to a contractor at the time, like circling the drain.
Yeah.
Went off the water. Everything came back. Everybody was like walking around, don't. It was hilarious.
16 years ago.
Yeah.
16 years ago.
Yeah. I found a way. I made a decision, like, I have to have one of these. It lit me up. My brain was online. And when I connected those dots, that was the big difference.
Yeah.
Like, it took my health to a level that I had not been able to achieve without it. And I just made the commitment to get one. Now, with that came some payments that I didn't know how I was like, well, I know it came with a business, so I guess I'm just going to do that. And then 2008 hit. We lost the house. We lost the cars. We lost everything. Like, I'm this far from being homeless, but I got this magic water box. And so I just started sharing the water, and it put me into the business. And even to this day, like the best friend that I was telling you about, the one that I called in the parking lot when I got my second diagnosis with cancer, and she's like, let's pray. You know what to do.
Yes.
She'll still tell the story about how I used this water for cancer. I'm like, that's not true. It didn't.
No.
I didn't. What it did for me was
and I'm glad you phrased it that way.
Yeah.
Because I do want to clarify for our listeners, we're going to talk about a lot of topics, a lot of modalities, None of this is telling you that if you do, and I'm just going to use the water for example, we're going to talk about other things, but if we do the water, you will. That's not what we're telling you. We're not telling you that.
There's no magic pill,
There's
folks.
no magic pill. And unfortunately, you said it's a lifestyle. And that is not an easy pill to swallow.
Yeah. What I loved about it is it was an easy switch. Like, I had a 400-foot well. I already had good water. I already was drinking good water. This, higher level.
Higher level.
And they sold it as alkaline water. And what I said to myself was, what do I need that for? I got wheatgrass. Like, I know how to get my body alkaline. I don't need, like, I can put baking soda in any water and make it alkaline. This was energized.
Well,
this was different.
So I'm going to ask you a question because I don't want our producer to tell me we're out of time without asking you this question. Water's water. Like, I can go to Costco and I can get one of those 36 packs or whatever they are of water, except that's not what the case, is it?
No, it's not.
And
let me ask you this. So that water is in what?
Plastic
And
bottles.
that plastic is made out of what?
Well, I believe there's actually oil involved in making
It's made
plastic.
with oil.
In fact, knowing that you were going to bring this up, I went and did a little research.
Oh.
They're called EDCs.
Mm-hmm. Endocrine disrupting chemicals.
Endocrine disrupting chemicals. Mm-hmm. And I think that we should just use the phrase that you love to use. Guys, we're going there. Sorry, guys.
What happens when a male puts a bunch of
So these are
EDCs?
these endocrine disrupting chemicals. They and I took notes. They directly impact the male sexual development. They act like xenoestrogens. In other words, they're mimicking estrogen in our bodies, and they have a negative impact on guys specifically. They lower our sex drive. They cause infertility, and yes, guys, erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
With that, the show's all yours now.
There's
I've already set the stage.
There's two parts to that equation. So, a lot of people drink bottled water because they think it's cleaner. They have the perception that it's healthier. But my question is how long has that water been in that bottle? Like, most people never stop to think what that bottle's made out of.
No,
right?
The last thing we think of is what it's made of. And some might actually think about it, and I'll just use Costco as an example. There's got to be some warehouse with tons and tons and tons of pallets of water that gets shipped out to all these different locations.
Yeah.
But how long does it sit in that warehouse before it got to your local Costco, before it got to you?
Or sitting outside in the sun at the gas station or where, like you see it all the time. I see cases of water in people's cars all the time.
And there's a whole
you
new
heat
show.
that plastic and that now it's leaching. Like water's a solvent and a scavenger. It's going to absorb whatever you put it in. That's a fact.
Well, I'm just going to say that we're going to have to do a whole new connecting the dots on what you're talking about because there's a whole scavenger thing going on there.
Yeah.
And we do need to do an entire show about water specifically, but I want
You want to talk about endocrine disrupting chemicals.
You know, I just want you to go there with the guys.
Okay.
Well,
here's the thing.
So tell the guys why not to use plastic bottles, Mikki.
Well, plastic bottle, double whammy. So you're drinking essentially endocrine, like it's a xenoestrogen.
You're drinking estrogen, guys.
You're drinking estrogen, which is tanking your testosterone, which is your drive, right?
And the whole erectile dysfunction is your own fault.
Well, if you think about...
Was that too blunt?
If you what happens to a water balloon if there's no water in it?
Wah, wah, wah.
So when you have a bunch of chemicals in your body, all of your cells are in fight or flight mode, and they're not letting things in or things out. It's like 5 o'clock on all the bridges, right? So word from Portland, Vancouver area, 5 o'clock on the bridge is not a good time here.
Anyone around here knows what that means.
So what happens is now your cells aren't absorbing water and they're not excreting waste. So it's accumulative.
Okay.
So you drink plastic out of a water bottle, and then you microwave plastic, and then you unwrap that burrito, or it's everywhere. And so we're getting xenoestrogens from every angle. Worse in water because water is a solvent and a scavenger.
Water,
now
whatever it has,
we're having a hard time getting hydrated because our body is full of garbage. So your endocrine system are like, part of your lymphs are part of your endocrine system. They're the little garbage buckets. What happens when the garbage bucket's full? Things start overflowing. Yeah. And now we have something called a symptom or a dis-ease because your body's out of balance, so you have a dis-ease. You were talking about ED. It's a symptom of an imbalance. Like it's not a lack of, what's that drug?
Viagra?
That's the one. It's not a lack of Viagra, but in your system, it's too much garbage. And too much garbage means that you're dehydrated.
Well, and you said something a minute ago, and I think this could be a whole nother podcast for us. The problem with, in my opinion, the problem with our current system is we don't ever find the root cause. We go, okay, I'll use my sister as an example. There's a tumor right here, so we're going to cut that tumor out. But what caused that tumor?
Right.
And so all you did was get rid of the symptom, not the problem.
Yeah.
You got to go, what's the root cause problem? Yeah. So
I think bottled water is one of the biggest atrocities of our time. People drink it thinking it's clean. It's not. Did you know that if they live in Washington State, so if they bottle it in Washington and sell it in Washington, it doesn't even have to be tested. There's no regulation on that. There's literally one person.
What?
One person in charge of the safety in all of the bottled water in America.
Call your senator right now. That's stupid stuff.
Do a fact check. That's last time I checked, that was true.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it still is. But yeah, so there's just a lot of things around bottled water that people just don't know, and some are worse than others. Some are made with cheaper plastic than others. You brought up Costco. Look at the number on it, and that number on it is going to pick whether it's PET, whether it's PVC, whether, what kind of chemicals are in that plastic. None of them are good for you.
No.
Do yourself a favor and get a filter and, metal or glass.
Metal or glass.
So not aluminum, please, and thank you.
Okay.
Aluminum is toxic to your brain as well as a bunch of other things, but, a good grade stainless steel or glass. I prefer metal. As maybe you didn't notice, but my water bottle's dented.
Yeah,
mine is too, I might be clumsy, and I've been through more than 2 glass containers for that reason. Glass is great because it's inert. It doesn't. There's nothing to absorb for the water to absorb. So, but yeah, getting the xenoestrogens out of the water is not an easy thing. Like we have massive filters here to get the PFAS
Yep.
and all of that stuff out of the water.
Yeah.
And
So
they're not taking it out of the water.
Well,
like
and
40% of bottled water is just tap water.
knowing that we were gonna talk about this one, I did find a website that mentioned 7 reasons that you should not use bottled water. I'm not gonna talk about all of these, but the first one, it releases potentially harmful chemicals. We kind of talked about that one. That the third one says that it raises your risk of heart disease using bottled water. It exposes you to bacteria because it's sitting there.
So this is raising your toxic load on every level.
Yeah, it's bad for the environment because those bottles have got to go somewhere. The last one I think is the one we really want to hit on because of this show. We're connecting the dots for you folks when it comes to cancer specifically. But on this website, number 7 exposes you to carcinogens.
So a carcinogen is a cancer-causing chemical.
Yeah, for those who don't know that word,
Yeah.
a carcinogen is a cancer-causing chemical. And from their website, one of their 7 reasons not to use bottled water is because it does expose you to carcinogens.
So the less carcinogens, the less toxins that you could get into your body, the less toxins you have to get out of your body.
What was it you said on the last podcast? Get the bad
Good stuff in,
and the
bad stuff out.
Yeah.
Stop doing the bad things. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people, you don't know what you don't know. And so we're putting bad things into our bodies that we don't stop to realize how bad they are. You're at the grocery store, you're thirsty, you're looking at the beverage case, and look, there's bottled water. Well, it's better than soda. It's better than Gatorade, both of which are insanely acidic. So what do? Well, okay, having some water is better than no water. So good, better, best, right? Good, drink some water. If it has plastic in it and that's all you have, like there's a time and a place for that. Ask the people in Michigan. Okay, Flint, Michigan.
Yeah,
they're
that was
drinking
better
bottled
than the water they had.
Yeah. So in that case, that's bottled water to the rescue. There's a time and a place for it. Better get a filter and bottle your own water. Like there's a little bit of prep involved. Do I have water in my car? Yeah. It's in a big stainless steel container because I'm probably going to run out. I drink a lot of water. Best case scenario, energize your water and filter it. So
which is a whole
other topic.
Whole nother topic.
But it's good, better, bad. Not all water is created equally. I like people say that, well, isn't water water? Well, if that's true for you, then drink out of the toilet.
Water's water.
It's not.
Yep.
I don't drink out of puddles either. Like I had this whole run of people that were coming to me and they were going to different streams, but there's people that drink raw water, like water that comes out of the side of a mountain. And I had this whole run of people that had digestive issues. Guess what? They were getting bacteria from those streams that they're not filtered, and they're like, well, it's straight off a mountain. Okay.
I did Boy Scouts for years, and we always told our Boy Scouts don't drink out of the streams because you don't know what was upstream.
You don't know what pooped in that stream up there.
Could be a deer that urinated or something that died. You don't know what's upstream. So you always filter even stream water.
It's just take control of the things that you can.
Yeah.
Right? So, cheapest, get a Brita. Better, get something that takes out the PFAS and the fluoride, which is a whole other topic. But get out of your water what you can get out of your water. Try to leave in the good stuff.
Well, and you did a phrase a minute ago, and I know that our producer over here is telling us we're almost out of time. So, see, I just got the 2-minute warning from the producer. But when I started kicking cancer almost 7 years ago, once I realized we had an idea to share with people, to take them from here to here, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
So I like your phrase of good, better, best scenario.
Yeah.
If you're over here, do something a little bit better than that. Do the good, then the better, then the best. And eventually we can get you over here. But if I say you're here to come to here, you're going to go run away from Mikki and Barry.
Right. I've done some
Two crazy people run away.
I've done some really, really radical things to recover my health, and I've seen a lot of people like run from that crazy lady. In my age and wisdom, I'm crazy. I like to bridge the gap. Like I like to meet people where they're at. We call it habit stacking. What are you doing in your life that is an easy switch?
Yeah.
I love water because it's an easy switch. Like we all need to drink water. Is there something that you're doing that we could remove? Maybe it's soda, maybe it's Gatorade, maybe it's too much coffee, What are the things that you can control that make the biggest impact? Let's start there.
Well, there's a phrase that you've used before on this show, and once again, kicking-cancer.org. That's our website. There will be a link to all these podcasts. There will also be a link on our website really soon that'll say communities. Click on that. Click on Washington, Vancouver. Then it'll hyperlink you to Mikki's. I run the Salem. I'm the guide out of Salem. Mikki's the guide here in Vancouver, Washington. But you said it's time to take. Oh, there's my timer. It's time to take our power back, people. And please tune in again for a future episode as we continue to connect the dots.
We'll see you next time.